What's going on with y'all?
Good. How about you? What's the issue today, sis?
What's the issue? I am so glad you asked that, Mila. Right.
You gotta let kids be kids. But I don't know about.
Who's taking Miss Mabel to the subway, though? Okay.
Hypothetically speaking.
I thought you were gonna say something else. Hey, everybody. You heard that empire? You heard that? Hey, everybody. So we are back. Hopefully everybody liked the intro. If not, don't tell me about it because I'm going to be hurt. My feelings is going to be hurt. Anyway, so we are back for season 2, episode 1. What's the issue, sis? As you see, we are down one, but she will be back soon. Hopefully, God willing. We will see her
She
soon. Anyway, so we back, Mila. Hey, Mila, how you doing, Mila?
I know. I feel like I haven't seen you in 30 days.
I know, right? It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left. Okay, been a long time. How you doing, Mila?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright, bro.
Is there an issue?
What's the issue, sis? What is the issue? All right, so let's just get started because we can't do this back and forth banter. It's just two of us. We're gonna be sitting there just looking at each other. So the issue tonight, we're talking about men and their mothers. And this came out of, I don't know if anybody watched the last episode, but the last episode we were kind of talking about it, and then we kind of got into the subject of men and their mothers. We was talking about relationships and that type of thing. And so now we're going to have a whole episode about men and their mothers. And I was supposed to have my son join us tonight, but he is whatever he is. I don't know if he's sick. He might be sick. So he will not be joining us tonight. So now it's going to be just us two women talking about men and their mothers. So the only reason why this was interesting to me was because we all talk about we can't find a man that does X, Y, and Z, right? We can't find a man that's compassionate and is strong. Can't find a man that's aggressive and can have a soft spot. And I thought that it has a lot to do with the relationships with men and their moms, because I know a lot of men, black men. I'm going to say black men because those are the only type of men that I know. I don't know what everybody else does, but the black men that I know usually have some type of mommy issue, right? It's either their mother's dead or their mother is abusive or was abusive when they were younger, or, something like that. And so that has a whole lot to do with how they navigate relationships moving forward as adults. You know a lot of those men too. Right? Okay.
I do.
Yeah. Okay, so getting into the situation. So my son was supposed to join, but he didn't. And we have a weird dynamic because my girls think that my son is my favorite. I even heard this just yesterday. You only doing that? You think so too?
I know so.
Oh my goodness.
You know what's funny? Well, actually, I'm gonna let you continue.
No, go ahead.
It's funny because I was actually having this conversation with a group of the women that I work with. We all had like a little function or whatever, but the lady was saying how the reason why she feels like other people feel like men are babied by their moms is because her point of view was that, once the man grows up and, has their own family, has their own kids, they're supposed to be the provider. So when they're young, they want to give them that love or whatever. So, I don't know. I forgot kind of what we was drinking, so I can't remember.
Okay. You said when they're younger, you want to give them extra love. Is that what you
Yeah.
is that what you're saying? Okay.
She said she wants to give them extra love as a child so they could grow up and, know how that feels instead of
Yeah.
always feeling like I'm the one that has to be independent. People depend on me. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how my son grew up. I keep saying my son. That's kind of how Khalil grew up. Like, he thinks that he has to be the provider because his mother was most of the time without a man, right? And he had to be the man in the house. So anytime that a situation came about, he bucked up like the man. Like, he decided that that's what his role was. That's what he was supposed to be. But he was a child, at that point. So it was difficult for him to kind of navigate that. And also the situation with him not having a male figure or a strong male positive role model in his life, other than when he was playing sports. But those men kind of, didn't really fit the bill either. So it was kind of difficult for him to try to figure out his life. But at the same time, my daughters think that he's my favorite because I did different things with him than I did with them. Like, most of the time when I wanted him to do certain things, I wouldn't push him to do it. Like, everybody was always, well, he needs to cut the grass and he needs to take the garbage out and he needs to do X, Y, and Z. Khalil hates cutting the grass. Like, he hates it. And I don't want to have to keep making that a thing. Like, I'm going to keep pushing up against you to try to do something and you don't want to do it. You going to wait until the last minute. Our grass has been overgrown so many times just because he just does not like doing it. And when he was forced to, he broke the sprinkler head.
Because he was too mad. He wasn't paying attention.
He was angry, right? So I'm like, okay, I don't want to have to keep doing that. I don't want to have to keep fighting with him to do certain things. And then stuff like curfew, he would be allowed to come in later than the girls did because he was going to do it anyway. So I had to kind of try to figure out different ways and different strategies to be able to discipline him or even keep him, in the house a lot. Whereas I didn't have to do that with them. I would just have to not all of them, some of them, I would just have to tell them, like, you need to be here at this time, and they would be here at this time. With him, it was like, you need to be here at 10, even though I knew he wasn't going to be here at 10 because I really wanted him to be in the house at 11. So I had to do, like, different things. And plus, I don't know how it is to be a boy. Like, I didn't grow up being a boy. I can understand, like, with the girls. I know how to navigate that. I don't know how to be a boy. I don't know what boys go through. I don't know what boys experience. But at the same time, I had to raise one. Yeah. So I think this conversation, came out of that. We were talking about raising men, how women can't raise effective men, right?
Yeah.
So you have just the one brother, right, Justin?
Jamil, but one brother in the house.
I forgot about Jamil. I'm sorry, Jamil. I forgot about Jamil. I forgot for that moment that you two were related. Okay. Yes,
but I grew up with Justin in the household, and I did see a difference. I definitely felt a difference, and it was not. It was not fair. Even growing up, I had I felt like, me personally, I felt like I had to grow up a lot more than my brother did because I had other siblings. I had him, so I was changing diapers at 6. I was feeding him and making him his lunches and stuff like that. And I think he was what age? 10, and he still didn't really know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I'm like, what's going on? I was making runs to the store. So what we're doing? Why is he not doing what I feel like he's supposed to be doing? Because I did it. My mom was like, he's different. And I'm just like, that's sexist. Why is he different?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, because I'm thinking, like, some people say it's a sexist thing. Like, it's because it's gender differences that a lot of women treat their sons differently than they do their daughter. And I had a conversation with this dumb person one time. Dude was stupid. But what came out of that conversation was a lot of Black people feel that way. Like, they feel like boys can handle themselves where girls can't. Right? Because he said to me, when my son gets to be an adult or a teenager, even like when he gets to be 18, I'm gonna buy him a car and he can kind of do what he wants to do. But I'm gonna drive my daughter to school every day. She can't have a car at 18. And I was like, why?
Right.
Well, she's not gonna be equipped to handle that, whereas he's gonna be able to handle that. Like,
that makes no sense.
I said, how does that make sense? But then I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense to him because one, he's probably that type of dude who would be some type of predator, right? So I don't want my daughter having to experience what I would do to a woman, right? But then the other thing was he felt like he needed to protect his daughter at all costs until it got to a place of where she could protect herself. Then where is that place? Right?
Right.
Where is that? But I think it's not so much of we know that men are naturally stronger than women. But I think it's more of like we always talk about, the messaging is wrong.
Stronger physically.
Oh, yeah. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Thank you. Stronger physically. But the messaging is wrong because you feel like your daughter is not safe because of the men out in the world who could prey on her. Right? But instead of it being, let me try to save her from these men, let me try to figure out how to keep these men from violating my daughter. That's never
and
what
properly educate her, let her know the signs. And I feel like I don't want to sound scholastic or whatever, but education is key.
Education is key. Yes, it is. It is the key to everything.
Inform your daughter. I feel like it's not the best thing to coddle and keep your child hidden from the outside world, because as they get adults, they're not going to understand, they're not going to know, and they're going to become dependent 24/7. And then they're going to try to look for a man that kind of has that father figure, and that's when they get manipulated. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's how I
Yeah. I can see that.
I mean, especially when younger girls who've been coddled by their parents or their father or whatever, and then they lose their father, whether it be death or just some type of loss or whatever, they miscommunications or things happen along the line. So they're like having anxiety. They're like, I need a male figure, I need that that testosterone, I need somebody exactly like my father, because then I won't know how to cope, I won't know how to survive. And then they look for a man like their father, but really isn't shit. And then they get manipulated, and then after that, then they're heartbroken, and then they're just like on this, F men, all men ain't blah blah, this and that. Yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like just educate your kids and be informative, and then be understanding too. And then also going back to the topic.
But educate your children, right? Not just your daughters. Yeah. Educate your children.
Educate your children, definitely. But I definitely do. How did you feel growing up? Because you're the only girl.
Yes.
So how did you feel? Do you feel like the men in your family?
Yeah. I am the only girl of 5 brothers. Right? I have the 3 brothers on my mom's side and the 2 brothers on, technically 3 on my dad's side. So me and your dad are the only ones that have the same.
Yeah.
So Jihad and Kaleem, of course, are younger, and then the other 2, 3, them other people. So anyway, the thing is, I always tell people, I'll be like, I have 5 brothers, but I really have 3 fathers, right? The other one, the real one, whatever. So they were like really, what's the word? They were like really not overprotective, but more overbearing with the things that they were
aggressive.
Saying. Very aggressive. Yeah. Very aggressive. But me and your dad grew up together most of the time. We were living
the twins.
Yeah. We were living together most of the time. But this topic also comes out of that, like that experience with him, to where I had to do a whole lot of stuff in the house. Like I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to watch kids, I had to wash clothes, I had to, all of the woman stuff, right? Your daddy had to take out the trash. That's it. That is it. That is all he had to do when we were living with my father, is he had to take out the trash. And I was like, why is that fair? Like, how is
that doesn't make any sense?
Then, he grew up to be this oddly really trying to be clean person because he didn't really know how to clean. Like he doesn't really know. He knows how to do certain things, but he doesn't really know how to clean. So he wants people to stay clean so he doesn't have to clean all the time. Right. But yeah, when we grew up, all he had to do was take out the trash. And I had to do all of the house labor and all of the extra mothering and all of the stuff. And I just hated him for a long time. Long time. Because I was like, why is it that he doesn't have to do anything, but I have to do everything? And I kind of inadvertently did that to my children, right? Because my son is only responsible for taking out the trash.
But then again, that's all you knew. So,
but he doesn't like doing anything else. That's the problem. And that might have been the same for my brother. I don't know.
But did your other children, did the girls like doing that? I'm pretty sure Kalihyl and Kayla didn't like doing it, but they still did it.
They didn't, not as much as you would think. No, they did not like, especially Kayla. She did not like touching that trash. Don't never. But I would have them doing, the cooking and the cleaning and the, they would be responsible for the cleaning. And Kayla hated Kalihyl in the same way that I hated daddy, because all he was responsible for was taking out the trash, and he didn't really have to clean everything. But the difference is my son knows how to cook. He knows how to clean. He would come into the kitchen with me when I would be cooking, and he would watch and he would learn. Like that.
He's resourceful too.
Yeah, he really is. The other day I came in and he was cooking fried chicken. I didn't even know he knew how to cook fried chicken, right? But he was either cooking chicken and rice and spinach, and I was like, okay, so, and it was seasoned and it was cooked all the way through. He was making drumsticks. It was cooked all the way through, right? This is not something. I mean, this is not something that a lot of men know how to do, but he absolutely knows. He knows how to cook. He knows how to clean. When he goes to his own house, whatever that might be. Whatever that might be.
The shade is real tonight.
He ain't here, so not going to talk about it. But he will be able to take care of himself when he gets to that place. But when he was growing up, my whole thing was, I want to keep him safe, right? I want to keep him in the house so that look at this one, so that he will be safe. So it will be like, you want to play video games? Sure, son. You can play video games for 12 hours. That means that you're sitting in your room and you're not outside getting shot, right? Or you can, you want to play video games, or you want to do certain things. The only thing that I had a problem with my son was he was always climbing and jumping off of stuff. And he would go to the park and climb on top of all the way at the top of the jungle gym and jump off. And Kalihyl was small.
Yeah,
he was tiny, right? And he would just jump. He would leap off the top of the jungle gym. And I'd be like, dude, come on. We can't be in the hospital all the time because you got some type of bone. That's the only thing, with the boy, that was a little bit. But for the most part, my goal was to keep my son alive. I'm not even going to say safe. It was to keep him alive, especially when he became a teenager. You in the house all day, cool. But when he started going out,
it's a scary feeling.
It was scary. I was worried every single time he left the house.
Yeah.
Every day. I would be worried about what he was doing, where he was going, what was going on with him. Was he going to come home alive? And then all this police brutality stuff started being in the news, right? So now every time something happened, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Where's my son? Where's his car? Right? I'm looking for him, trying to figure out where he's. This glare. God damn it. How do I? This is what I hate about the daytime when we doing this. Okay. See if that works. That works right now. Okay. But I was worried about him for the most part. And I think that that's a lot that mothers go through with sons, especially Black boys. They worry a lot about whether they're going to be safe or whether they're going to be alive. So you kind of give him, you know,
A pass.
You give him a pass, or you give him different, oh my God, you give him different structure so that he, you know, he'll stay alive.
No, I definitely understand that. Because, you know, I have 2 younger brothers, so I get it, but it's not fair.
It's not.
But I do feel like I do believe in when I have a child, whenever that'll be or whatever, when I have kids and if I have a son, I definitely want to at least, you know, get him thinking about, you know, when he gets older, how he's not always gonna find a woman that's gonna cook and clean, because nowadays this generation, I can't even lie, I barely just started cooking. I clean, but I barely started cooking. So I can only imagine in 2020, I mean 2085 when I have kids.
2085? That's when you're gonna have kids. Okay.
Women are not going to be, you know, as homely. And nowadays, a lot of women are protesting relationships anyways. They said it's better to be single.
Yeah.
I'm like hot girl summer-ish.
It's better to be single. Because I don't know if you saw that. Well, you know, because we live on different sides of Facebook, but I don't know if you saw that meme that was talking about it was showing a mother and a son that and he was like being really emotional and really angry and really aggressive, and she was like, stop doing that, or stop crying, or stop something. I think it was stop crying. And then when he got older and he became a teenager, she was like, why can't you show any emotion? Have you seen that?
I've seen something like that.
Yeah. So that was the thing that kind of got me too, because it's like, how do you, if you haven't learned how to deal with your emotion, how do you then, when you're an adult, deal with it? And who is supposed to teach you that? Right?
Yeah.
Is it the mother's responsibility to teach her son?
It's both. I feel like it's both parents. It shouldn't always just be on the mom, even though the mom is supposed to be, you know, the mother's supposed to be a little bit more loving or whatever. But I feel like men need to step it up, show your emotions. It's okay. I'm not saying, you know, you got every time something happens, you got to sit up there and cry with your big ass, but
maybe you should. Maybe you should, because then your son will see that it's okay to cry, right? Maybe especially if you're a big dude, right? You're a big dude, and maybe you're like, oh, look, my dad cry all the time, so it's cool. But then it's like, you in the house with that. You in the house with a father who cries or a father who shows emotion, and then you go outside and you deal with men who have no idea how to do that. So then you're like faced with, okay, this is how I'm supposed to be because my daddy said, or, you know, my positive male role model or male figure said, and now here's my friends talking about, oh, you soft, you gay, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of tough to do. Because that was hard for him, for Kalihyl, because he, you know, he was one way in the house. He's super emotional. He knows how to express himself. He knows how to verbalize most of the time, except when he's upset. But most of the time, he knows how to verbalize how he feels, right? Then he goes out into the world, and his friends are like, what? What? You're not supposed to have a penis and do that. What? No. So it's like, how do you, as a woman, right, becoming into dating and coming into your world, now how do you get a man, a Black man, who gives you what it is that you need in a healthy relationship if they don't even have that, like, basic skill, right?
You gotta build a man.
Oh my God. No, why? Can we stop doing that? I really want us to stop doing that.
No, I don't know what else would. I mean, tell them to read a book. I don't know.
I think everybody
get
needs
him
to
a
go to
puppy.
therapy. Everybody needs to go to
I
therapy.
think every man has some type of soft spot, some type of, you know, they're not, even though they might, because I know a man who on the outside is very, very solid, but in the inside, he's very, very soft. And, you know, he's a typical Black male, grew up in LA, you know, in a certain type of lifestyle, but he's able to, well,
That's
somewhat.
the part. That's right there.
He's not able to express it, but you know what's in there. Sometimes he can be deep, but it could be in a manipulative way sometimes.
Most of them who have it in there, it's in there. They just don't know how to tap into it because nobody's taught them how to do it. Nobody told them that it's okay. Nobody said, you know what, dude, this is how people are supposed to be. But this is not even just men. This is just society, period, right? Because if you are a person who shows your emotion in public, you're looked at as crazy, right? Why are you crying? Why are you crying around all these people? Why are you getting upset around all these people? You're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to maintain decorum. We're supposed to be straight every single time you go out in public and you around people. So men have to deal with that. So first they have to deal with not having learned how to express their emotion, not being told that it's okay to do it by either parent. Most of the time, by their male parent, they're told that it's wrong, right? And then they have to deal with society that says you're not supposed to do that in front of people.
Right.
It's like, no.
You know what? I can't sit up here and fake the funk. I'm kind of one of those people.
I mean, we all are to a certain extent until you get to a place of where somebody says, this is okay for you to do. Because it absolutely is. And this is the thing that people look at me strange when I say that most of the time. I say, it's absolutely the healthy way to have emotional responses is to show it. Is to let it out, right? It shouldn't matter where you are. Like if I'm saying, like I say to most of my clients, so most of the time when people ask you let me even ask you. Most of the time people say, hey, Mila, how you doing? What's your automatic response?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm good, right? All right. You could have just gotten into a car accident and lost your entire car and your house burned down and your kids is running around and you don't know where your son is at, right? Well, not you because you don't have none of them. But I'm just saying, all these things could have happened. But your emotional response, your automatic response is, I'm good. I'm okay. Because that's what we've been taught, right? You have to put on the face every time you're around somebody else. Don't show.
It's a poker face. You can't show emotion. And I'm definitely one of those people. I'm not very emotional. I mean, I can express my emotions, but I'm not just one of those people that'll just be like, oh my God, let me just tell you about all this and all that.
Yeah.
I'm very much of a sweep it under the rug and keep it pushing type of person. But I am trying to learn because it does affect a lot of my relationships. And that doesn't necessarily mean like a sexual relationship. It could mean family, friends, all that type of stuff. But I do definitely see, because I'm the type of person where me being upset, instead of me crying, I'm gonna just start laughing. And ain't nothing funny. Funny. But I'm gonna just start laughing because that's
your
defense mechanism. And that's my poker face. And it sucks, especially when you're in a heated argument with somebody and you laughing in their face.
Yeah. You cover up your emotions with jokes. Like you're the person that keeps everybody entertained when it's when it's a hard moment and we all like what's wrong with her? We in there crying and he was like, what's going on? Trying to entertain her. But that's because that's how you learned, right? You were modeled that as a child to not express yourself in that way. But that's the healthy way to do things, and we don't grasp that because it's like it's the healthy way, but 95% of people in my space are not healthy. So now I look weird because I'm doing something different than everybody else. And it matters because there's 95% of the people around me that are doing the same thing, right? I don't want to look weird. I don't want to be different. I don't want to be outcasted. So now I'm going to continue to put on this face and put on this front and not emotionally express myself. And now I'm going to still continue to be unhealthy because that's the accepted thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And men have that same issue with the people around them. It's more like maybe even 100% of people around them are not emotionally expressive. There's been like this push and this trend for men to get in touch with their mental health and get it or to get mentally healthy and to get in touch with their emotional side and their feminine side. But it's like, it's trendy. It's not something that people actually say.
It's not something that's going to be a long-term thing. It's kind of like, okay, we're doing it because TikTok told us to do it.
Right.
Which is sad. This generation is all about trends. Anything that's even, this might be a little deep, but even suicide.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion. I personally feel like, I'm not saying that kids are out here just killing themselves because it's it's fun to do or whatever, but I feel like a lot of people fake depression because that's something that's popping. Even the music now was about depression and killing yourself and slitting your wrists and stuff like that. A lot of people are into that, so they feel like, okay, well, in order to fit with this crowd, I have to figure out some way to feel depressed.
Yeah,
which is very sad because it kind of shadow bans the people who are actually going through certain things, who go through depression and have suicidal thoughts. I personally feel like that's
the thing. Is it, and we don't really know, but is it that they're doing it because they think it's popular, or are they doing it because now it's more acceptable for them to be who they already were? Right? Because you were already depressed, and now TikTok says it's okay. So now let me do a TikTok saying about how I'm depressed, and so I can kind of follow this trend because now it's a little bit more acceptable to people.
I can see that. I can see but I feel like it's a mixture. I still feel like people still do it because it's a trend.
Yeah.
I feel like it's both. Yeah. Kiana said she feels like it's both. I feel like it's both too. Because some people is kind of like, I'm not trying to say like, what are you depressed for? But it's like, where did this come about? Because you can see signs of people who are depressed, whether they try to hide it or not. You can. I feel like, but we have superpowers and we can feel things.
We feel people's energy.
I feel people's energies, and I can tell when someone's bullshitting me.
Yeah. But I don't know, because I think, like, well, you know me with my therapist brain. I think everything that everybody does is for a purpose, right? People talk about, well, this person's a liar. Why are they lying? They're lying for a reason. Either they learn how to lie and that got them out of stuff, or they learn how to lie and they got them into stuff. Either way, that's how they navigate the world because that's worked for them, right? It's kind of the same thing with those type of disorders. It's like putting on, I'll just say this. Most of the time, the most depressed people are the ones who appear to be happy.
That is true.
Like Robin Williams.
Never thought.
Right. Robin Williams, for example, for a big example, he was probably really deeply depressed. He probably had really, deep, major depressive disorder. But because he entertained people and he was happy all the time and he was smiling all the time, people assumed that his life was great. And he probably couldn't even figure it out. And I think I heard something one time when he was saying that was the thing. Like his goal in life was to make people happy, but he couldn't figure out how to do it for himself.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's what happens. It's like you put on this face for everybody else that you're happy, and you're really not. You're really going through it, but you have to, function. You can't do anything different. So I think it's like, especially for kids, because their brains don't even function in a way that allows them to even like, cognitively know or understand this is what's happening to me. Right? But they just feel. It's like, I feel like this right now.
Right.
And now everybody's saying it's okay. Right? So let me go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and kind of be that way. Let me go ahead and kind of let it out if it's necessary to do. Yeah. But that's another thing that even men deal with too. Right? I'm depressed, but I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know who to talk to about that, because I can't talk to the women in my life because they're going to think I'm soft. I can't talk to the men in my life because they're going to think I'm soft. I don't want to be a punk. I don't want to be considered soft. So I'm going to just keep this in.
Yeah. And then it bottles up and it turns into aggression and anger, and it becomes something totally different.
Yes. It becomes something uncontrollable at that point. But then that goes back to the topic, mothers and sons. Do we as mothers, I know you're not one yet, but for the mothers on here, do we as mothers always nurture our sons' emotional expression in enough of a way that they will be able to do that as adults and not become aggressive and not be angry all the time? I think that should be a trend.
Yeah. You know who I feel like does a really good job on that though?
Cool.
Your daughter with Elijah. I definitely commend her. I always tell her all the time.
I agree. She allows him to express himself, but she also, explains to him what is happening and what's going on. And she allows him to cry, and she doesn't tell him to stop crying.
Yeah.
Because if he wants to cry, whether he's crying because he wants something or whether he's crying because he really is feeling emotionally hurt, then
kids can't fester up the words to say, okay, this is how I feel. This is why I feel this way. Because I remember I don't know you remember when I was a child. I would just have random shutdowns, and it would just be like, whoa, what the heck happened to her? I didn't understand it. I don't know. It could have been like maybe social anxiety, or it could have been I had a personality disorder. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
No, I don't think so.
But now I kind of see, because at first I used to be like, I was a trip when I was little. I used to make up stories. I remember I used to make up stories to the point where I would start crying and actually kind of start to believe my stories, and everybody would be looking at me like, that didn't happen. That's not what happened. But it's just like kids can't really express themselves, so they act out. And that's also stems with behavior too. Aggression, when kids are angry or whatever, they don't get their way, they tend to be destructive. And then after that, then they get reprimanded. But it's kind of like, okay, but I still don't get it.
Yeah. So Kiana says she feels like she do. And the boys in your generation, I think, and sorry, Jamil, I loved you, Jamil. I love Jamil. I just sorry about earlier. Anyway, I think like Jamil and Kalihyl and even, the other ones like Basil and Omar and even them, I think that they are a lot more emotionally expressive than the men in my generation.
Yeah, but they grew up with a lot more women.
That's true.
I feel like your generation was a lot more men, and then now it's kind of like reverse.
It was all boys. And
they all have sisters, right? Omar, Wasada, and then
there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
In my generation. And then with y'all, it's like 22.
Yeah.
And
just a lot of emotions.
Yeah. So they do grow up a lot more around women, but that whole thing about if they grow up around women, they're going to be gay. That doesn't mean that. That just means that they learn how to treat women. Right?
How to be a little bit more nurturing.
They are. They're very nurturing, and they're very loving, and they're very compassionate, and they hug.
Yeah.
And they love on each other, and they love on us, like Mel and Ryan. They're all really emotionally expressive. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that we've me, me, and everybody's mama. The way that we've kind of raised them and not wanting to be like the men before them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think
we did a good job on the boys in this family, the newer generation.
The new ones.
No shade.
The new boys. Yeah.
Not that I said we, like I got a little bit something to do with it.
You did. You had a lot to do with it. I think they will be a whole lot different than the ones that we are used to knowing. I think that their relationships are going to be different. I mean, it's weird because like now, that like you said about the women are like not even wanting to be in relationships anymore, like hot girl summer, and I can be by myself and I can do all these things by myself. I think that the girls in your generation are a little different.
They are. They're a lot more harder. This generation. They
are, and I don't know if that's good or bad, right? I don't know if it's because they're hardened by society and what's happening, or because they finally decided we don't have to follow these roles anymore, right?
I think it's a bit of both, and also how they were brought up too. Because just like how I was saying, I'm not one of those emotional females. It's because of the way I was brought up. I was kind of not necessarily. Well, more so my father. He kind of treated me like a little boy. Yeah. But I was very rough like a little boy. Me and Kalihyl used to fight all the time. And everybody used to be like, "Why are you fighting him?" And I'm like, "Because this is fun."
Yeah, you used to hit people with the heavy hand all the time.
And that was my way to express. It was love taps. It wasn't nothing.
Yes, because you learned that. You learned that that's right. How you express love to your family is by walking up to them and hitting them in the arm.
Yeah. Not anymore. I don't do that anymore. That was me as a child.
But because why? Because a person who you was raised by did that as a form of his love.
Yeah.
So you learn, how however you grow up or however you're raised, that's what you learn. So now moving forward, women, how do you feel like you would raise your son now? Do you think it would be just trying to raise him differently than what you know? Or do you feel like you would kind of like mix it up?
I think I would mix it up. I mean, I don't think my parents didn't do a terrible job raising me. No, they did the best that they could. But I do see where a lot of things where what I feel like I would do personally is not put my child through the same traumatic experiences that I went through just because I went through it. I think that's a lot of excuses where, okay, well, my mom made me do this, so I'm gonna make you do it too. I didn't like it, but you just gonna have to do it. I'm not gonna be one of those parents because I hated that. I'm like, why I gotta get up at 9 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday to go to Dollar Tree to pick up bleach and soap and stuff. And then my brother over here, I mean, he was a toddler, but still when he got older, he still never did it. And I'm just like, why? Why do I have to do it?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it did teach me a lot. It taught me how to be comfortable being in the store alone. Because, that's a big thing, too, is also getting your kids comfortable enough to, count money and, be in the store alone. Because some kids are like grown teenagers and they don't want to go in the store alone. They don't know how to count change and stuff like that. So, which is unfortunate. But I feel like growing up, I was able to experience how should I say this? I was able to be a little bit more independent from how since how I was brought up or whatever.
Yeah.
Certain teachings or whatever.
So then going back to that, do we also we should also do that for our boys? Because then maybe they won't grow up being those men who live off of women. Because they don't know how to take care of themselves. Like the boys should get up at 9 o'clock in the morning and go to Dollar Tree because that would probably be a safer thing for him. Well, depending on where you live. I don't know. But you know, that should be his task to do. You know, or something that would make him more independent to where when he leaves his mama's house, he can go and have his own place and maintain his own apartment and not have to always live with a woman in order for him to be
I feel like they have to necessarily keep a woman around, you know, just so they could do certain things. Like, oh, you know, I got her around so she could always cook and clean and do this, and that for me.
Right. And take care of my kids.
Yeah.
That I had with other people.
How do you feel about men not wanting to do their daughter's hair?
I don't know if I feel either way about that. Like it's because I don't know, because it's getting to, you know, the natural trend is starting to become a thing. Like it's becoming, you know, something that we do. So needing to do hair, right, it's not necessarily a thing anymore. It's like you don't necessarily have to have your baby look a certain way because she could just have her fro and she'd be cool, right? People are starting to come to that idea or that you know, starting to think that that's okay. So I think, and this is just me, I think most women want men to do their daughter's hair because it's cute.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, look at her daddy doing her hair. Because I don't know, I've only known one, maybe two people that actually know how to do girls' hair, men that know how to do girls' hair, because they were taught that. Somebody sat down with them and said, this is how you braid. Or somebody sat down with them and said, this is how you do a ponytail, right? You having your husband do your daughter's hair so she could be going out there looking crazy. It's cute, right? That's not, I don't know. But yes, I think like, they should learn.
I feel like they should learn.
I think they should learn how to do it. You should learn how to put on a ponytail holder. You should learn, because me, when I was growing up, I had no idea how to do my hair. Because I was around a bunch of men. And then I would be like, how do you do this? And he gave me the ponytail holder back, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But
they didn't have YouTube back then.
No, there was no YouTube. There was no books. There was no, you know, I had to figure that out on my own. So with the girls that's growing up with fathers who like are single fathers or fathers who are the primary caregivers, that's important for them to learn, but not as a, oh, it's cute because my daddy doing my hair. It's more.
No, I definitely feel that. Yeah.
Because
I remember my father used to do my hair. He did my hair a few times.
And had you out there looking crazy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But your hair when you was younger, oh Lord. Your hair was thick and it was curly and it would be like you try to untangle it or detangle it, and then because we didn't have all the products.
Yeah.
You would, like
we had Motions. You remember Motions?
Yes. Yes. You remember that one time I tried to do your hair? Oh my God. Remember when I tried to comb it out? And it still had a lump in the middle. But yes, we didn't have all the detangler products.
We didn't have all that. Yeah, we didn't have all that.
So I could just imagine what he went through, because it was hard for me, and I did girls' hair for a living, basically. So yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like with girls with real thick hair, with real long hair, you know, it's necessary to learn how to do hair, but not just because it's cute or it's a trend, right?
No, I definitely feel that.
So I want to say to everybody, the opinions on this show are not necessarily my clinical opinion. Because I don't think I ever said that before. But this is the personal opinion of a person who is a clinician. That's it. Don't go around talking about Rabia said, and she's a therapist. No, man, because Rabia cusses on this show. And
matter of fact, you need to have a disclaimer.
The personal opinion, you know, one of those things like the but the medicine, the personal opinions on the show do not reflect. No, that is not what's happening. But anyway, so moving forward, how do we get into relationships with men who are not emotionally healthy and be okay? because they didn't learn from their mama how to do that.
I feel like you're gonna have to. I mean, if you have the patience to, I feel like you would have to show them. Sometimes you have to show people how to love you. That's how I personally feel.
Not sometimes, all the time.
All the time, yeah.
All the time, whether it's romantic relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's family, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to show people. Yanaa said we don't. We're supposed to show people how to love us, and the way that we do that is by not allowing them to do certain things. Right? Once it's not like a once you do this, I'm done type of thing. It's a once you do this, I'm gonna tell you, listen, this is not okay for me. And it's not okay. And if you continue to do that, this is what I'm gonna do. Right? You continue to do that, we can't be in this relationship anymore. If you continue to do that, we can't, have these types of conversations. Or if you continue to do that, we can't live together. If you continue to do that, we can't get married. That type of thing. To be that's the boundary. Like, you can't do this to me. You cannot treat me this way. And if it's part of your personality, you need to go fix that. You need to get some type of something, whether it's church counseling or something, to figure out books or audio books or whatever it is, the self-help stuff. But you need to fix that, because that's hurting me in a way that we can't have a healthy relationship. So that's what needs to happen. If you're not emotionally healthy, one, don't get in a relationship.
Right. That's why I feel like self-love is the most important thing, because if you can't love yourself, then how can you love anybody else? That's just my take on it. Some people may not agree, but
that's the thing about self-love is people seem to think that and I think I said this before, but they think that it's about loving yourself. Like, oh, I love myself. I'm the best person in the world. Not necessarily about that. It's about taking care of yourself. Right? If you are in a relationship with somebody who is not mentally or physically or spiritually or emotionally giving you anything, self-love would be, I'm not going to be here anymore because this doesn't fulfill me. This doesn't give me what I need. Right? Or if you are in a relationship with a family member, right? Who does the same thing, whether they're family or not, self-love would be, I'm not going to deal with this person unless I have to. I want to make sure that they're not in my space, because I love myself enough to where I don't feel like I have to continue to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't do me right.
Right.
Period. Whether it's friends, family, whatever. You separate yourself from that situation. But also have conversations. Have them hard conversations with people.
Communication is key.
Not everybody knows how to communicate, so we're not just gonna say that.
But it is key, though. You have to learn how to communicate. That's just throughout life. You're just gonna have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn. And that's just something that you have to do.
Teach your children, and the way you teach children, especially male children, communication is by allowing them to be who they are when they're children.
Yeah.
Allow them to express themselves in the way that they know how. If your son only knows how to express himself in a rap song, let him do that. Right? If he only knows how to express himself in poetry, let him do that. Yanaa said we don't want audiobooks. We don't want audiobooks anymore. But however it goes, they need to be able to figure out how to release those emotions so that they don't become angry and aggressive. And it needs to be able to, they need to have space for that. In your house, in your life, whatever it is. Even adult men, like you said, if you're patient enough, you can allow them to do that and have that expression. Because, I know a lot of writers and poets and artists and who just sit and draw, and video gamers, and that's the other thing, video games. A lot of women have a problem with video games.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but it becomes a problem if I'm trying to explain something to you and you're too busy being on your game. That's a problem for me.
Yeah.
So I can't say that. But if you want to have your little free time and play your little game, I could care less about that. But when I'm talking, I'm gonna need all eyes on me. What they be saying in school? 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me.
1, 2, 3, eyes on me. It becomes a problem when it's 8 to 10 to 12 hours of the day, and you're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of men use that as an escape from whatever their life is at the moment. So that might be a conversation that needs to be had. Why do you feel like you need to escape into this video game instead of being in our real life?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about our real life that makes you want to go do that? But then again, it goes back to the mama thing, because I let my son do that. And, you know, my daughter lets her son do that because that is the thing that they like to do. So that could be like a learned behavior too. They grow up because they played video games when they were younger. That's how I got my aggression out, or that's how I expressed myself. So now, as an adult, I don't know how to do it anymore either. So this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. But it also, I feel like that's fine, but limited. I don't think that they should be on it all day. Limited. Maybe about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the age.
Yeah, unless they're like those, you know, Fortnite $3 million kids. You know, no, you need to get off of here.
Yeah. Or like, especially when they're very young, like I was to say like toddlers, like the twins. They're not toddlers anymore. They're about to be 35.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was younger, I used to play games, but they used to be educational games like the leapfrog, or like, remember that little card game, memory, like the little you put the so you can flip it over or whatever. I used to play those little games.
Yeah.
I was little, but I didn't. But then again, video games wasn't that big when I was growing up.
Oh yeah.
They weren't really that big. Not until like the early 2000s, like maybe like 06, or is that mid 2000s, whatever, but like 06, 07.
Yeah,
around that. But I wasn't really into that.
That could also be a way for mothers to bond with their sons too, learning how to play video games. Because, you know, we don't care about stuff like that like they do. But if you, from what I've seen, like I had a client once who was not verbal. Like he didn't talk to people. He didn't talk to anybody. And it wasn't because he didn't know how. He just didn't want to. Like whenever he would talk to, he got to a point where he was so introverted that he just did not want to say anything to anybody. So I asked him what he liked, and he liked video games. And when we played video games together,
he started talking.
He told me everything, right? So it's like you could try to find something that your son likes to do, and that way he's distracted enough to where he doesn't have those inhibitions to be able to express himself, and he can verbally express himself at some point.
Right.
But a lot of boys like to run, so I don't know about running and walking around. That's not.
Well, shoot, get on a moped.
Running, walking around on the scooter, on the bike, or
get you a motorized bike.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even the motorized scooter. I'm thinking about getting one, even though that thing is expensive still.
Oh, look, you were thinking about getting the motorized? Those are dangerous.
They are, but
they're fun.
They're mobile.
They're fun though.
You can get around on them bad boys.
And they're fast as ever. They're hella fast.
Okay, so ending the show. What are we gonna talk about next week? What do you think we should talk about next week?
Not
next week. That's not true. 2 weeks from now. So 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have our second show of the second season. What should we talk about, Mila? I'm gonna put it all on you. It's all your decision.
What should we talk about? How about we talk about this offline?
Well, okay. already kind of decided, but I was just trying to.
I know you did.
So, okay. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna have Ryan back on the show. He's coming back.
Yay!
And he's gonna have a colleague with him. So we're gonna have 4 people for the next show, and the topic is going to be teaching healthy relationships in schools.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you don't like that. Look at your face. No.
I mean, no, that's cool. You mean like throughout school, like from K to 12?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Starting in the beginning, because like you have that idea of, we talk about this all the time. If a boy hits you, then he likes you, right?
Oh yeah. No.
That's false. So starting that young, no, nobody is supposed to touch you without your consent, type of thing. And then how to communicate, right? Because even the twins have these cliques, and when they were in like kindergarten, first grade, they were clicking up, right? Oh, she don't like me, and she talks bad about me, and I don't like her, and our friends are over here, and they got their little group over here, and I was like, y'all doing this in kindergarten? Like,
man, I don't remember that in kindergarten.
It's like that now. So teaching them from that age on how to communicate and how to get along with each other, so that they'll learn moving forward throughout school. Like, this is how you socialize. It's really, socializing doesn't come in until probably like elementary, junior high.
Elementary, yeah.
Right, where you really start to get into, I need friends, and I need a group, and I need people to hang out with. It's probably like a transition, elementary to junior high. But if you start teaching them at kindergarten,
or even preschool, I mean,
by the time they get there, they'll be straight. They'll be solid.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's actually a good thing. We just gonna talk about it.
Listen, we're not here to change the world. We just here to speak our minds, okay?
So maybe Yanaa will be back. Mila pushes. Nia said yes, preschool. Maybe Yanaa will be back next time, and she'll be able to join us too. But thank y'all for rocking with us like we always do. I don't know if y'all seen the intro, but hope you like it, because it's gonna be on there now from now on.
And if you didn't see the intro, you could go back and watch it on YouTube.
Yes. So what was you gonna say about YouTube, Mila?
Not follow. What is it? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sis Issues.
Click like and subscribe, and so you can see past stuff, and you can see this show over again, or you can see it on Facebook Live. Either way, well, not live.
Yes, and also heavy on the likes. Start liking our stuff for real, or else it's gonna be a problem. Okay.
All right, so we are out. Have a good day and night, everybody. Love all of y'all. See you in 2 weeks.